opening minds, opening doors. A vacation in Ireland. One of my many memorable vacations is my first trip to Europe with my dad. This trip took place during the spring break of 1998, my senior year of high school. My dad and I went to Dublin, Ireland for his medical meetings and sightseeing. I had always wanted to go to Ireland. However, I should have guessed that it would be an adventure when we were flying over the ocean and someone called for a doctor on board over the intercom. I had just nodded off and shot straight up in my seat at the announcement. "Dad, what's going on?" I asked. My dad put his shoes on and went to the cockpit as directed. He went to assist in whatever way he could. It turned out, though, that there wasn't much he could do with what was in the medical box, as the patient in question had previously had surgery and decided to fly 2 days later. We landed in Dublin with a new bottle of wine as a thank you, courtesy of the flight crew, for Dad's assistance. The baggage handlers were on strike, and the taxis were honoring the picket lines. As a result, we had to walk a ways and wait a ways before we could even find a cab or get our luggage. Once inside a cab, on our way to our hotel, Dad idly asked our driver about the Troubles in the north. The Troubles was the name given to the conflict between Northern and Southern, aka the Republic of Ireland. It was widely believed the conflict was just between Catholics and Protestants, but it's actually over the constitutional status of Northern Ireland. Protestants think of themselves as British and want Northern Ireland to remain within the United Kingdom. However, for many years, Catholics have seen themselves as Irish and would like to leave the United Kingdom to become a united Ireland. After my dad started this conversation with the cabbie, I thought, oh no, I just knew the driver would put us out on the street. Fortunately, he did not. He gave a vague answer and ended with, "We don't usually talk about these things here." Okay. Dad began again with, "But Dad," I hissed, and shook my head at him. We finally reached our hotel, and I'm sure that was one cabbie that was glad to be rid of us. In a jet-lagged state, we walked through a park to a cafe for lunch. Dad proceeded to order iced tea. I saw the look on our server's face and said, "No, hot tea is fine." She was very confused, and so was my dad. "No, iced tea is what I want," he said, despite the cool spring drizzle outside. I said again, "Hot tea is fine." At this point, I explained to my dad that they don't have iced tea in Europe. He looked dumbfounded and ordered hot tea. I saw the same expression of culture shock / dumbfoundedness, if you will, again at the post office a few days later. We were told that the letterbox was outside and around the corner. I said thank you and dropped off my postcards in the letterbox. When I turned around, my dad wasn't there. I went back into the post office, and he was still standing in the center looking rather confused because he didn't know that in Ireland and other parts of the region, the mailbox is called a letterbox. The rest of the trip was great. We even took a train cross-country to the west coast near Galway. We took lots of pictures throughout the trip with throwaway cameras. One of which stands out in my mind is the trip west. It's a picture of me on the train with my warm plaid button-down shirt on and jeans. I have a yellow Walkman cassette player on the table in front of me. My dad took this picture from across the table. He snapped the photo as I was listening to music, probably the Cranberries, and gazing out at the countryside rolling by. My dad and I also have a memory when we were boarding the train in Dublin. To our surprise, there were some kids with a boombox listening to American music. And they were singing along. We looked at each other in amazement. The music, although I don't remember who it was, reminded me of home, because I knew in a few days, after spending time in Galway, we were going to be on our way home. We had an uneventful flight, and we still have great pictures and fond memories of Ireland.